over the weekend, we heard about the passing of longtime and legendary Gopher Baseball coach John Anderson. He died at the age of 71. He spent some 43 years as a head coach of the Gophers, and certainly has brought out a lot of folks commenting on his passing because he touched a lot of people in those times and was well known in Minnesota baseball, obviously. So joining us now is Ty McDevitt, the current coach of the Gophers. You took over after Coach Anderson retired just 2 years ago in 2024, but you spent a few years with him also as, a pitching coach on his staff, right?
I did, yeah. I've spent a lot of time with Coach John, 14, as most people who are in the program refer to him as. Been about 15 years now with Coach Anderson, both as a player, as an assistant. We spent a lot of time together.
Yeah. What do you remember about him the most? I mean, what are the things that you're going to hold dear in the years to come as you think about your time with John?
John was one of the most authentic humans, maybe the most authentic human that I've ever met. He didn't have an off day where he just decided to, not be him, not care about the people around him. He was always on. He was always worried about the people around him, always worried about his players, always concerned for what he could do to impact those around him. And so that's what I'll miss most. I'll miss our conversations. I'll miss the advice that he gave. The baseball advice was one thing. He was good at that. He was a good baseball mind. Clearly knew how to develop a team and a roster. But the life advice was what I'll really miss.
Yeah. And we talk about this because he spent so much time at the University of Minnesota. I mean, he became such a known entity in the Minnesota sports world, particularly in Minnesota baseball. Let's see, he came to Minnesota as a pitcher in 1974. Injury ended his career at 75, became a student assistant coach, and again, stayed there until he retired 2 years ago. What do you know about him, and what did he say to you about how he came to the U as a student athlete and stayed there until his retirement?
He's told a lot of stories, and with that amount of time doing what he did, I think the stories will just start to flow from everybody. Again, I was with him for a decent chunk of that, but I wasn't born when he started. He told me that early on, he was a decent ball player. I think some injuries hampered his career, and he found a calling to coaching. Took up a liking from Dick Siebert, who was the previous coach, and George Thomas after that. And then at the time of his hiring, he was cheap. He was available. He clearly had a knowledge of the game, and just kept showing up. And for 43 plus years, he used to joke about it, but he said, I've been walking the same path for almost 50 years now. And in that time, he's impacted so many people, not just those who have played for him, those who have coached for him, and those in the athletic department, but so many people in the Minnesota community, the Minneapolis community, the baseball community in general.
Do you think when he came as a student and then transitioned into a coach, do you think he ever expected that he would remain there for the rest of his career? Or do you think that's just something that organically happened?
I think I can speak for him because we've talked about this often. No, he never thought he'd be a coach. Just one day led to another day, and before you know it, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a legend, and he's going to be dearly missed.
And then, what is it that you have taken from him that will be a forever part of your coaching approach or repertoire?
There's many things coaching wise. I don't know if there's one thing outside of just how clearly obvious that and important it is to be authentically you. That was something that he preached as a coach to his players. That was something that he talked about to his coaching staff. That's something that I will always look in the mirror on is am I being authentically me and the best version of me, and my constantly willing to challenge that person that looks back at me in the mirror. So that's one piece of things, but the lasting impact that he's had on me as a person, not just me as a baseball coach, with my family, my kids, the way I interact with everybody around me, I'm certain that I'll never know the full scope of what he's done for me.
Yeah, it's so much of that you've just internalized. It's just osmosis from being around him. The winningest coach in Big Ten Conference history, John Anderson, dying at the age of 71. Thanks for taking time. I know it's obviously been a tough couple of days for you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
You bet. Thanks for sharing.